Welcome back to the Online Women's Basketball Summit. Today's guest is Lindsey. Lori is a former professional soccer player who represented her sport both on the international and national stage. Now that her playing career is over, she is a performance coach in Washington, D.C. Lori, welcome to the call.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So you have a pretty important background. You had a stellar playing career. So can we start how you started playing soccer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Indiana, and I have an older brother, Chris, who from a young age kind of started getting into many different sports, but soccer ended up being the main sport that he was attracted to. And our dad, Lindsey, he wasn't the type of dad that was going to like sit us down and help us with our math homework or just homework in general. So kind of his way of, parenting us, I should say, was to coach our soccer teams, mandate that we go out and practice soccer in the backyard before we did any homework after school. So that kind of started my trajectory of soccer at an early age. So I'd say about 4 years old is when I started. And then one thing kind of led to another from there. I was playing on my brother's all boys team for a while. And then just kind of realized that I loved the game, but then also that I was pretty good at it as well. And so really started to develop as a player. And then one thing led to another from there. I started getting involved in what's called Olympic Development Program, or ODP, which is pretty popular in the soccer side of things. And then, like I said, one thing led to another. I started playing on all of our youth national teams. That led to a scholarship to University of Virginia, so I played soccer there. And then from there, getting drafted to our pro leagues. We're on a third pro league now, and one of 4 players to play in all 3 pro leagues. And then I'm kind of dating myself with that information. and then also, yes, ultimately our World Cup and Olympic team. So
nice. Yeah. So let's touch first on playing for the World Cup.
Yep. Well, it was unbelievable. I think, in women's soccer and in sports in general, the Olympics are amazing, because in all sports, it's like, as an American, that's like your dream, right? If you're playing sports. But on the soccer side of things, and the world stage, the World Cup is our biggest event. And so I played in the 2011 World Cup, and it was held in Germany, which was an amazing, just amazing experience in the fact that Germany put on this amazing event. All of our parents, friends, and family were able to travel over there. They all bussed around together. So for friends and family, it was an amazing experience as well. And then the country just really rallied around not only their German team, but all of the teams. So tons of the stadiums were sold out. We played an average about 25,000 in front of 25,000 fans each game. The final was over 60,000. And in my opinion, that event was arguably the most successful women's sporting event up until, I would say, the 2015 World Cup, when it was just held in Canada. And I say that because up until then, there's like a lot of peaks and valleys with women's sports and women's soccer in general, in the fact that, or more specifically, I should say, because, it was all based on how we had done in previous world championships, and we had gone through 2 pro leagues in the U.S. already. But this tournament really set the standard that women's soccer is here to stay, not just on the U.S. level, but globally as well. And I think we saw that, heading into the 2015 World Cup as well, with, expanding from 16 teams to 24 teams. We had, millions and millions of people watching our final game. So the 2011 was a special event in the fact that I think it's really projected or set women's soccer on the stage for good.
Nice. So obviously you played at the highest level, and you performed pretty amazingly. So as a soccer player, when you were playing for the World Cup and the Olympics, was there a strength coach? Was strength training a big part of what you girls were doing?
Yes, we have a full-time director of performance named Don Scott, who has been with our U.S. team since 2010 and has been unbelievable in terms of assistance for all of us with GPS monitoring, strength and conditioning. We actually have like a full team that helps us. So in that regard, we're very well taken care of. Me specifically, yeah, I mean, that was a huge thing in terms of growing up and keeping me in the game and helping me get to the highest level, because growing up in Indiana, I mean, it's getting better, but even to this day, no offense, Indiana, but no one's thinking like soccer hotbed and they're thinking Indiana, right? So for
They're
me,
thinking basketball.
right, exactly. And so for me, it was when I was starting to compete against some of the best players around the country with the youth national teams. A lot of those players were coming from New Jersey, which is considered a major soccer hotbed, California, where they're playing year round. So for me, it was about trying to find a way to not only become like the best soccer player I can, but how can I stay on the field, one, and become the best athlete I can to really kind of create that foundation to become a better soccer player. And so my freshman year in high school, well, prior to that, I just did whatever my brother Chris was doing, and it was like body weight stuff, push-ups, squats, kind of just body weight stuff like that. But then in my freshman year in high school is when I started getting into more of like the actual strength and conditioning. And, I would say that really set the foundation for me to excel at the next level in terms of keeping me healthy and enhancing my performance.
Agreed. I mean, for me to play college basketball, I'm 5'3", so I definitely contribute the strength and conditioning to having a pretty damn college career. So now you are a sports performance coach in Washington, D.C. So talk about kind of what you're doing, where you work, what's your focus now?
Yeah, so my focus now is really niched down to female soccer players. And then helping them, I think we all talk about like sports specific these days and like players just playing one sport and what that looks like. Because our generation, we grew up playing multiple sports, right? And that helped not only with the strength and conditioning, keeping us healthy, but playing multiple sports just added variety to our movements and helped, us build a good foundation. And you were seeing that like a lot of the athletes or soccer players today or basketball players don't get that, right? And so how can we, instead of just arguing, hey, you should be playing multiple sports, you should be playing multiple sports, and then not doing that, how can we help instead of just continue to, sorry, some text messages coming in. So popular. Anyway, so, how can we help these athletes? And for me, soccer is like a year-round sport. There's no seasons anymore. It's not like you have a fall season, spring season. It's year-round. So, my passion is to help these athletes stay healthy, give them what they're not getting on the field, and then, ultimately be able to play the sport they love as long as they can.
Good. So I know you did a lot of soccer camps and you are doing a lot of soccer camps because I follow you on Instagram. So during the soccer camps, do you guys touch on any strength and conditioning part during the camp, or is it all skill specific?
Yeah, no, great question. So, yes, I have been all over the place. And in particular, I do, these camps with my best friend, Megan Rapinoe, and her twin sister, Rachel, who's another one of my great friends. And when they came to me a few years ago about, hey, we want to start doing these soccer clinics or quote unquote soccer camps around the country, do you want to partner up? And I said, well, if you're just going to be doing skill work, then no, absolutely not. Because I think there's a much broader, we're missing out on a major element that the athletes need these days. So what we did is I came up with this curriculum that helps where we include skill, but it's kind of, they have stations. So it includes skill, and then they also have athletic development stations as well. So we teach understanding landing, the athletic position, different like hops, bounds, that kind of stuff. And then there's also a strength station as well. And the cool aspect of that is we're partnered up with Skills, the company Skills for that, and they have Exos trainers that will come in and help us with those as well. So I think those are why those have been so popular, is because it gives these athletes a different look other than just skill, what they're usually getting every single day.
I love it. I wish more basketball camps, especially around here, put more of an emphasis on strength and conditioning. So I want to touch on your website. I was reading your bio, checking out the website. It talks about you want to empower the young female athlete through strength. Obviously, you played at the highest level, so like mentally, physically, emotionally, you had to be at the top of your game. So give some tips, some pointers that you would recommend to the young female athletes out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're just playing soccer, if you're not playing, even if you're playing some multiple sports, seek out some sort of like athletic development program. You know, anything like that is just going to help you. I think the reason why we get into sport is because we love it. We want to play with our best friends. And I think what we see now is that players are getting burnt out because they're only doing skill stuff or they're injured and they can't compete, right? And so for me, when I say like empower women through strength or young female athletes through strength, it's just about, hey, like you have more control over your career and the trajectory of your career than you think, you know? And in fact, like I would argue, don't allow a coach to decide how good you want to be. But that doesn't mean just going out and you know, a big portion of that is practicing your skill, whether it's on the basketball court or it's on the soccer field. But a whole nother element of that is strength and conditioning or just athletic development. And, you know, for me, that's what that's what gave me the confidence to continue to pursue my career and know that I was doing everything that I could off the field to be successful on the field. And that's where the confidence comes in. So that'd be my number one tip. Find different ways that you can improve off the field that encompasses like everything that you can do on the field. Yeah, and then that's going to serve you. I mean, basically, that's the number one thing, right? So I mean, that's just going to serve these young female athletes down the road too when soccer does or basketball comes to an end. So
yeah, nice. So I mean, I had a pregame kind of ritual before I played, and I mean, I definitely pushed myself off the basketball court. So mentally, like, toughness was never my issue when I played, but obviously, I think we see it nowadays. There's a lot of girl athletes out there that definitely lack confidence, definitely lack the mental toughness. Any pieces of advice more towards that?
yeah, I mean, you know, I think it all goes together though. Like, I think what happens is we get into sport nowadays and we just show up to our practices, right? And then we wonder why, okay, why aren't we playing? Why aren't I getting more minutes? Or if I am getting more minutes, why am I not the best one on the field? And those types of thought process, right? And I think if we take a step back and say, okay, well, we do have some control, right? So is that practicing your skill off the field? Or is that, again, going to seek out some sort of athletic development? I think all of these elements, we kind of just show up or what I found with some athletes these days is we just show up and expect instead of, as you said, putting in the hard work and then realizing that's where my confidence is going to come from, the stuff that I'm doing when no one's watching, or you know, just the little extra work that's going to give me a boost in my confidence to know that I'm doing everything that I can.
Yeah. I mean, when I played in college, I found that the games were the easy part. Like the practices, going through the preseason, the postseason stuff was so much tougher than the actual game. I mean, they prepared you to be able to play.
Oh, yeah. Soccer, the players are going through preseason now, and I'm like, I feel for all of them, I should say, because I'm like, oh, these bring back horrible memories, right? So
yeah, no, I mean, I definitely miss playing. I miss the teammates, but yes, right now I do not. I'm not missing the preseason because we'd be going right after Labor Day.
Yeah.
So we touched on kind of a lot of stuff today. Is there anything else you want to add to kind of what we talked about empowering the young female athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, really it's just about loving what you're doing and having fun, right? So finding ways that that are going to keep you in the game and keep you enjoying the game. You know, I was fortunate to have a 13-year pro career and played for 30 years of my life, and some of some of the best memories come from a lot of my playing days. And so I think just finding, you know, ways to stay in the game and continue to love the game. And again, I think, you know, I keep repeating myself, but it all comes back to doing the little things on your own that you're enjoying it instead of showing up, like I said, to practice and having a coach tell you what to do. Find ways that you can love the game, study the game, and good things will happen.
I love that. I love that you said, find ways to still love the game, because I mean, this, any sport for female athletes, it's not always going to be great. It's going to be tough and it's
Yeah.
going to test you. So you got to remember why you started to play the game in the first place. So if people want to find more about you, email, social media, website, what do you got?
Yes. So social media, Twitter and Instagram are at Lori Lindsey 6. It's LORILINDSEY 6. And LoriLindsey.us is my website, and they can email me at Lori@LoriLindsey.us. And then Facebook, Lori Lindsey. I have a business page, Lori Lindsey Performance. You can look me up there. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get a hold of me, and I love hearing from people and collaborating. So hit me up.
All right. Well, thank you. It was great to finally kind of see you in person, and I hope we actually meet in person soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.